Hello everyone! Today I'm going to be showing you how I made a pencil line soap. And at the end of this video, as I always do, I'm going to go over what went well, what did not go so well, and what it is that I learned from this soaping experience. Okay, so I'm here with my flowers because I love fall things and the color is just so beautiful. And I thought that it went really well with the fall colored soap I'm going to show you all today. So here I am with the final product. I actually have them here on the rack. Let's start going over the information that I usually cover when it comes to my soaping videos. The first of which is what went well. Overall for this soap, the design I will count as something that came out pretty well. Sometimes you can have spots where the pencil line is not as defined as you would like it to be. And for this particular batch, the pencil line actually came out pretty nice. So this is an example of it being good definition. And this one, you can see it has a mostly defined line, but for example, right here, you see you cannot see the line. I'm pointing that out to you to show what I mean when I say the design overall went well, because throughout most of the soap, it does have a nicely defined pencil line, which in actuality, of course, is activated charcoal. One thing I do want to note with the pencil line, I pretty much always have to cut off the sides as well. On the sides of the soap, because of the way the activated charcoal falls into the mold as I'm dusting it onto the soap, when I take the soap out of the mold, the edge is always smudgy. And so I do have to cut off the ends, which isn't a big deal. I just end up with little thin pieces that came from the end. That does make the soap a little bit smaller, but it looks pretty cool. So it's well worth just kind of wasting that end part to get a nice, neat looking soap. Now, if I was just using it in my home, it wouldn't make that big of a deal. But for sure, before I distribute it to other people or give it as gifts to family and friends, then I would want it to look nice and neat. It also elevates that pencil line look when you can see that it actually curves around the soap. What did not go well with this particular batch of soap is that it had a good amount of air bubbles in it. You can see the air bubbles by the little, it looks like white dots that are on it. And in actuality, those are air bubbles that are visible once you cut the soap. Maybe I would have taken a little more time with the stick blender, really making sure that no air was under the stick blender before I turned it on. That could have helped reduce the bubbles. So as for what I learned from this, I actually had a really nice subscriber in the comments who challenged me with doing a 50-50 water lye solution. Now, I got a little timid with it and did not make this one the 50-50 lye solution. Instead, what I did was, as opposed to using the 33% lye ratio that I normally use, I just upped it to 40. So baby steps. Now, what I anticipated was going to happen was that it was going to get to a thick trace very quickly, and I wasn't going to have enough time to work with the batter even for a simple pour, but that was not the case. So to that subscriber, thank you so much for that suggestion. And I am very glad that I did try the 40% because this does give me more confidence to be able to want to try the 50-50 lye solution. As you all know, I've been on this quest trying to make a brighter colored green using natural ingredients. So for this soap, I decided to try Annatto-infused oil along with indigo powder. Now, I've had a jar of Annatto-infused oil sitting over here on my shelf for the longest, and by the longest, I just mean about a year. But either way, I did not record the amount of annatto that I put into the oil. So it was really just a shot in the dark here, honestly, because even if it did work, I don't have the exact measurements of how much annatto I used in the oil. Either way, I decided to go ahead and use that Annatto-infused oil for this soap recipe. Of course, it did not come out green. It did end up with a color that I think is a really nice fall color. But ultimately, if I was to do this again and if I was to want the same color, honestly, I would just do turmeric powder. It really went through a lot of changes. So even from the time that I cut it to now, which is about a day later, it looks a lot different. I would just prefer to have the consistency of, I know it's going to be that color and it's barely changing any color as it's curing, versus I cut it and then I'm just waiting for it to turn a certain color, if that makes sense. And I am going to continue with my green experimentation. I did start a new annatto infusion, and this time I know how much annatto I put into the oil to infuse it. So now I can begin a more solid experiment. I also am going to tone down on how much annatto-infused oil I use for this next recipe to try to aim to get the green, because from what I saw from this, I believe that it was too strong of an annatto infusion, and that's why I ended up with this color. If you have any tips or any suggestions, I know one person in the comments actually asked about spirulina, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. They asked if I had used that, and I have not, although I did hear that you can get a green from it. I also heard that it fades fairly significantly. So either way, if you have any suggestions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. As always, if you're interested in seeing more of my content, please like the video as well. And I look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.